Justin Herbert fesses up. His ankle kind of sucks. Tyler Glasnow admits his entire injury history kind of sucks. And with the Sparks season finally over, what didn't suck? Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it's September 21st, 2024. We added a new subscriber to the Angeleno Familia yesterday. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. We're going to do our best to keep you informed. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 6, Colorado 4. The Dodgers rally with 3 home runs. Shohei Ohtani's 52nd, Teoscar Hernandez is 30th, and Andy Pages is 11th. I'm sure you were all wondering which finger I was going to keep up last, but I digress. The Dodgers lead the division by 4. Today, Colorado's at the Dodgers at 6. Walker Buehler is 1-5 with a 5.54 ERA. Cal Quantrill 8-10 with a 4.68 ERA. 11th ranked USC goes and faces 18th ranked Michigan at 12:30. It's the Trojans' Big Ten debut. And here's something that maybe I only think is cool. The 2 defensive coordinators in this game both coached for the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to be really interesting to see that battle of wits. UCLA is at 16th ranked LSU at 12:30. Are you confident? I'm not. Keep an eye on updates for defensive tackle Jay Toya. There's a chance the Bruins' best defensive lineman won't play. We don't know what the injury is. Deshaun Foster is keeping mum about it. It is Galaxy game day. Vancouver's in town to play the Galaxy at 7:30. Now, the Galaxy's push for a supporter shield might have gone up in smoke with a loss to Portland this week. But they still lead the Western Conference. And LAFC is at FC Dallas at 5:30. The Black and Gold have not won in 4 consecutive matches. And let's get to the news. The Chargers, we've come to realize, keep their yaps shut about injuries until they absolutely have to, when the NFL forces them to. It's almost as if you could affix jumper cables to the privates of the team doctor, and he will still swear an allegiance to Jim Harbaugh while he flops around like a fish with 50,000 volts coursing through his veins. I swear I will never talk, that kind of thing. So with about a day to go before the Bolts face Pittsburgh, Justin Herbert was finally compelled to confess. He has a high ankle sprain that, quote, is not great, unquote, and his status is questionable. He did say that this was not linked to the plantar fascia issue that he had in his right foot during training camp. And as a side note to this topic, Harbaugh has appeared to backpedal from saying that Easton Stick would get the start if Herbert can't, which is fine. But Herbert is questionable. Now, I want to let you know something that is not to be taken as holy writ, okay? Calling somebody questionable or probable, that is something that the NFL likes to do so that the gamblers can kind of factor that in to their equations and whatever before they go off and feed their gambling addiction. But in my experience, back when I was covering the NFL, most people who are questionable wind up at least trying to play. Take that for what it is. A day or two ago, also, we talked about how defensive back Elijah Molden started in place of Alohi Gilman and just flat out dominated Carolina. He had a pick, 7 tackles. Molden is an odd cat. He listens to podcasts about how to improve your memory. And believe you me, whatever skills he learned from them, he needed it. Because the dude wasn't even in town for a week after being traded to the Chargers from Tennessee for a 7th round pick, and the guy winds up playing in the season opener against Las Vegas. less than 2 weeks, he's starting in Carolina. Now, safeties coach Chris O'Leary had a feeling the trade for Molden was a good one within 2.5 hours of Molden's arrival from Tennessee. O'Leary told The Athletic, quote, "When you're talking defense and he can spit it back at you within the first meeting, you know you've got a chance," unquote. For his part, Molden described what it was like to learn a playbook in just 3 meetings as drinking from a fire hose. Now, having said that, both player and coach said the Chargers do run some things similar to what the Titans do, so it wasn't a completely new playbook. To be clear, though, Molden has not taken Gilman's job. Gilman might play Sunday, which would move Molden to the third safety. Tyler Glasnow broke his silence with the Scribes Friday and told them his injury history is, quote, exhausting, unquote. And I tend to believe him, because I'm exhausted talking about injured Dodger pitchers every single day on this bleeping channel. You're just one dude, my man. I can name a dozen Dodger pitchers who are on the injured list. My dude, when you're saying you're exhausted, you are preaching to the choir. Save that for Sunday service, guys. Now, to recap, Glasnow left Atlanta when it was determined that his elbow sprain wasn't improving. He's been shut down. Glasnow said he'll continue on a recovery plan, even if it means he doesn't pitch in the postseason, which doesn't sound that intelligent, by the way. He did not say a surgery was planned. He did have Tommy John surgery back in 2021, and because of that, even years after the fact, there are times his elbow will act up. Glasnow did say his mechanics in his delivery are actually sound, but the stress in his arm probably comes from the fact that he's 6'8", and with those long-ass arms, that's a lot of torque on the elbow. Guard Lashia Clarendon retired from the WNBA Friday, so saith her Insta. She played 12 years in the WNBA, the last one obviously with the Sparks. She was a WNBA All-Star in 2017. And after reading that, against my better judgment, I made the mistake of reading Bill Plaschke in the LA Times. He wrote an obituary on the Sparks, where just like always, he overreacted and suggested that the team might have to be sold. Now, if I can digress for just a moment, this doesn't have to do with the WNBA, but it has to do with Plaschke. The problem with hot take scribes is the same problem that faces the so-called red pill community. You know, if you haven't heard of the red pill community, it's guys like this dude you may have heard of named Andrew Tate, who will rightfully point out that there are lots of selfish women in the world, and he'll add on to that the rules of modern society are against men, and therefore you have to transform yourself into a misogynistic monster. It's all about hitting the weights, getting all the cash you can, and treating every woman except the one who gave birth to you like a total skank. In other words, much like Andrew Tate, with Bill Plaschke, the diagnosis is correct because it's obvious, but the cure prescribed is so much worse. It is so much worse. Plaschke is, like I said, here's the obvious diagnosis. Oh, the Sparks are missing the boat with how the WNBA is finally gaining popularity. This is a dumb cure, though, the idea that the Sparks ought to consider being sold for the following reasons. Number one, in case everybody forgot, and apparently they did, had the Sparks won the WNBA draft lottery, they would have drafted Caitlin Clark, and they would automatically become the epicenter of the WNBA universe. Instead, they got the number 2 pick. Does anybody remember that? Does Bill Plaschke remember that? In other words, the luck of the draw is what led to all those rows of empty seats that Plaschke was complaining about. And by the way, reason number 2, the Sparks are not an afterthought in the WNBA at all. You can say, oh, there's rows of empty seats. There's only one WNBA team that could fill Crypto.com Arena right now in the WNBA. The 2-time defending champion Las Vegas Aces play in a glorified high school gym outside of a casino. So tap the brakes on that. The Sparks were 4th in the WNBA in attendance. And then, of course, reason number 3. One of the owners of the team is Magic Johnson, and last I checked, he's part of the ownership group for the Dodgers and LAFC. They've kind of been known to win. So in other words, maybe not Plaschke's cure, but maybe have Magic Johnson figure out what the cure could be? Now, for his part, Johnson would not assure people that Coach Kurt Miller, who was a 2-time Coach of the Year, but he's totally face-planted when he came to LA, he is not going to give the guy a vote of confidence. And so the point I'm making is simple. Let Magic try to figure it out, instead of having Magic sell the team. Bill. Because you can say a lot of things pro and con about Magic Johnson. One thing he does know how to do is run a team. I'm on the road up in the Bay Area, and up here, fans are concerned that Rams backup quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is spilling all the inside dope on the San Francisco 49ers for Sunday's game. Garoppolo led them to a Super Bowl once, after all. Niners coach Kyle Shanahan says that is way overblown. But he does concede that Rams offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur, who is also a former Niners assistant coach, successfully spilled the tea last season. To be honest with you, though, I'm just interested in this game, not just because I'm a Rams fan, but because the Niners, just like the Rams, are missing a ton of players. We know definitely what the Rams are missing. They're missing a couple of defensive backs. They're missing their 2 best wide receivers, 2 of their starting offensive linemen at least. The Niners are out Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and possibly George Kittle. So you might be looking at a UFL game by the time the ball gets kicked off on Sunday. Your guess is as good as mine whether to trust ESPN these days. But one of their guys is saying that the Rams are in the market to trade for a wide receiver. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. The reason I'm saying maybe you shouldn't trust ESPN, by the way, is they have one of their other analysts who is really hyping the Rams going after Panthers benched quarterback Bryce Young. Why? What do you have to go on, bro? See what I mean? Like, it's all about the hype. It's all about ESPN generating hype now, which is one of the reasons why Plaschke wants to go there. And everybody at ESPN now is on, have you noticed this? ESPN is on a ban the cover 2 parade because Mina Kimes thinks it's being played too much. Never mind that the cover 2 has been around for generations, right? Mina Kimes doesn't like it. And whatever the marginally cute chick wants around a bunch of ESPN simps like Mel Kiper, well, then the marginally cute chick gets. We must protect the precious at ESPN. We must protect the Stephen A. Smiths and the Mina Kimes of the world. So yeah, the Rams are allegedly in the market to trade for a wide receiver. We'll see. Trust me, I have a sinking feeling Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp will be coming back before the Rams do that, but that's just my thought. And you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about the Chargers and if you believe Justin Herbert is playing. What do you think about Tyler Glasnow's injury history? And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.